This is the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, and today we're going to talk about that giant elephant in the room. When and how much should you pay yourself?
Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast on SelenaKnight.com. Stay ahead of the competition by opening your doors to business experts so you can learn, grow, and be inspired. Passionate about bringing business strategies to independent retailers, please welcome your host, Selena Knight.
Hey there, and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to share it with me and to learn something new about growing your retail or e-commerce business. If we haven't met before because it's 2020 and you've decided that podcasts are your thing, then I am Selena Knight. I'm a retail strategist and I help independent retail and e-commerce brands to scale and grow. Now, speaking of e-commerce, that is something that I have been working on in my own business. Over the Christmas break, I got a little bit bored, a little bit antsy, and I took a really good hard look at where my business was at and what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it. And if you didn't listen to my episode a few weeks ago about how 2019 was my year of failure, I'll make sure I link to it in the show notes. But essentially, last year, we tried a lot of things out. We threw a lot of stuff at the wall to see what would stick, to see what you guys actually wanted versus what you said you wanted, which meant lots of things. One, we created a lot of stuff and the execution wasn't always at the high level that I set my own standards to, because we were putting things out there. It's called MVP, minimum viable product. Put it out there, see if people want to buy it, see what they're prepared to pay, and then if it works, you tweak it and you make it better. So over Christmas, I was taking a really good look at the brand and what we had and what I liked and what I didn't like, and I was inside of our membership portal, the Retail Academy. Now, the Retail Academy is our online training hub. It's where we put all of our courses, all of our paid products, our worksheets, our templates, our retail collective membership, our courses, all the things that you buy from us are sitting inside of the Retail Academy. So that was one thing that we identified last year that we needed to do, was put all of those things in one place and promote that thing. Basically, it's our shop. So the Retail Academy is where everything is going to be from now on that you purchase from us. So what do you need to purchase? A shop. Of course you do. And honestly, this is something when I took my own quiz, if you haven't already taken it, SelenaKnight.com/quiz. When I did the quiz myself about the area that I needed to work on in my business, I'll have to admit, it didn't come as a shock when it said sales, because we have lots of stuff. And the problem when you have lots of stuff is that you don't always focus on selling. I know it sounds really, really silly, right? But it can be really difficult to kind of hone in on the one thing that you want to promote so that you get the best traction. And I did it a little bit last year with my meal prep and marketing strategies, which I hold on a Friday night as we have burger night at home. So as I make the burgers, I do these very off the cuff meal prep and marketing strategy where I give you a kind of marketing strategy while I drink some wine and make some burgers. Guys, those of you who have messaged me, yes, I will be starting them up. Just give me a couple of weeks to get back into the groove of things, but I promise they'll be back soon. But during those meal prep and marketing strategy sessions, everything was focused on our product that we had called we call it the UPC, the Ultimate Promotions Creator. And it's a little mini course that shows you exactly what you need to do to create promotions and sales that actually convert. So I say it's a mini course. It actually isn't a mini course. It's got like 6 or 7 modules. So mini course is not the right terminology. But in it, I go through the marketing strategy and I have a marketing calculator and there's scripts that you can copy and paste. And when we actually focused on promoting one thing, funnily enough, we sold lots of it. So having that look over Christmas, I decided that the Retail Academy, it needed a refresh. It was kind of built with when none of us quite knew how to use this software. So it was kind of cobbled together. I say was/is because right now, as we speak, it is getting a major refresh all new branding, we have new plugins, we have, I can't even tell you how many exciting things, plus the shop. But I'm really super excited about how slick and how professional it's looking, because this year we're going to do a lot more promotion into the Retail Academy. So our Retail Collective membership, which is our monthly membership for less than $1 a day, you get one mini course or one retail training sent out to you each month. In the Retail Collective this month, we are focusing all about how to get customers to spend more. So you get a mini training, so a video training, and you also get a little workbook that goes with it. So they're usually about 8 to 15 pages to help you map out the strategy and to implement the strategy. So inside the collective this month, we're talking all about how to get customers to spend more. And I was thinking, why do we want customers to spend more money? It sounds like the most obvious question in the world, but actually, when I ask people this, they often get a little bit stuck. But essentially, the reason why we want people to spend more money is because we want to grow our business, we want to scale up, or we want to be able to hire more people or buy more stock, or perhaps you want more money so you can update your store fit out or systems and processes, maybe your website. And if you had more money, you could do all those things. But you also want more money so that you can pay yourself more, right? Of course. I mean, the reason you own your own retail or e-commerce business is so that you can generate as much money as you want. You get to decide what that number is. But I said just a moment ago that some people really struggle with why they want to earn more money. And if you do, if you're listening to this going, Sal, of course I want to make more money. And I say, well, why do you want to make more money? And you go, I have to really think about that. You're not alone. Trust me. Even seasoned veteran retail owners can sometimes struggle with how much and when they should pay themselves. So this is something I want to talk about because it is really important. You don't work for free. You aren't in this to not make money. And you have to be okay to be okay with making money. That's like number one tip. You have to be okay with making money. And just a disclaimer before we jump into this episode, I'm not qualified to give you financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. So everything that I'm giving you are just hints and tips and tricks that you may or may not want to put into place in your business. But don't take any of this as financial advice. If you want financial advice, go and see your accountant or someone who is qualified to give you that, because I don't know what your business structure is. I don't know what your lifestyle looks like. All of those things. This is just general information that you can choose to take or leave. So now that I have that legal disclaimer out of the way, let's start with when you should pay yourself first. Now, as I said, if you struggle with this concept, you are not the only one. I have worked with clients that have been in business 10 years and have felt guilty when they've gotten to the point where they have the money to actually pay themselves a wage. And they sit back and say, well, should I actually continue to not pay myself a wage and maybe bring on a new employee? Well, obviously, I can't answer that question for you. But what I can say is you should be making money from your business. That is what it's there for. So most people, when they first start out, put everything back into the business. And I see this all the time. And honestly, it makes me cringe because putting everything back into the business sets a very, very dangerous precedent. First up, you become comfortable. I know it sounds really strange, but you become comfortable with not actually taking a wage. So as I mentioned before, when you get to the point when you can pay yourself a wage, it's very uncomfortable. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be comfortable with making money from your business. But it also sets a dangerous precedent because when do you stop that? When do you stop putting everything back in and start paying yourself? So personally, I'm very much a fan of paying yourself something right from the beginning. And I don't care if it is just $20 or $50 or $100, because here's what I've discovered. When you pay yourself something very, very quickly, you work out what value is to you. So working 70 hours a week and getting no money for it, that's kind of one thing because you're putting everything back into the business. But working 70 hours a week and paying yourself $100, you start to get a perception of what you're actually worth in your business. And if you are putting everything back into your business, what can happen is you can end up resenting the business that you've built up because you are putting all this time and money and effort in and getting nothing back. That's a terrible relationship to be in. That's a very one-sided relationship, and your business is taking, and you're not receiving. So I don't want you to start resenting your business. And that kind of, as I said, that value proposition, that resentment will actually fast forward when you are paying yourself something. So if you're putting 70 hours in and paying yourself $100, very, very quickly, you'll start to look at your business differently. You'll work out how you are valuable to your company, and you will realize that $100 is not enough, or $20 or $50 or even $200. That's not enough. So you have to give yourself, it's kind of like when people get stuff for free, they don't attach any value to it. But if you pay for something, you're more likely to do something with it and respect it. You have to do the same thing with your time and with your money and with your energy. You have to respect yourself because your business is not going to respect you because it's not a thing. You are the owner of your business. So set yourself up right from the beginning and allocate some amount of money to give to yourself, to come back to you. And we'll talk about how much that's going to be in just a minute. But in my opinion, you have to give yourself something. The other thing that you need to do to ensure that there is ongoing success with your business is to set what I like to call profit goals. And then you have to commit to them. And this is where a lot of people get tripped up. They start making money and then they don't know what to do with it because they haven't planned for profit. And it's something that I teach in a lot of our courses and resources and workbooks is this planning for profit concept. So at what point will you pay yourself? At what point will you bring on a new team member? At what point will you get a website overhaul? Don't just wait until there's money in the bank and then see what you can do with it. Setting profit goals. So when I hit this much revenue, I'm going to pay myself X amount. When I hit this much revenue, I'm going to get a new employee. When I hit this much revenue, I'm going to upgrade the website. By doing that, you actually are planning for the future and it gives you a goal to strive towards. So when you should pay yourself, in my opinion, and remember this is not financial advice, is right from the beginning. So if you've been in business a while, or even if you're just starting out and you aren't paying yourself, I really do urge you to sit down and think about how much value you bring to your company and how much that is worth, and then pay yourself something. So the next question is how much should I pay myself, right? And there are lots of different ways to calculate this. Quite simply, some people can do a percentage of profit. So I'm going to take 10% of net profit from the business, and I'm going to take that money once every month. And so at the end of the month, you calculate how much profit you have. Say you've got $10,000 profit, you're going to take 10% of that and give it to yourself as owner's wages or owner's drawings, depending on what kind of setup you've got for your business. Now, is this the best amount? Well, this is something that you have to work out for yourself and for your business. So I'm going to give you a few different ways and maybe just sit down and think about which one works for you. So the first one is a set amount of profit, and you can either do that monthly or quarterly, and you pay yourself that set amount of money. The second way that you can work out how much to pay yourself is using the profit first formula. Now, I'm going to put my hand up straight away and say, I haven't read the book. I don't know an awful lot about the profit first formula, other than profit comes first. And from what I understand, there are different buckets that you put your money in based on your income and your expenses and all those kinds of things. And you pay yourself first. I'm already all good for paying yourself first. So if that sounds like a great idea, if you are a profit first fan, or if you know about the concept, that is another way that you can work out how much money you should be paying yourself. But I like to go pretty granular with simple things like, how much would an equivalent person cost? So looking at what you do in your business, hopefully you're kind of the CEO. So what would the CEO of a retail business of your size be paid? Now, if you have a small to medium-sized business under sort of mid to high seven figures, you may not have a CEO in that kind of situation. So how much would a retail manager cost? How much would somebody who runs operations, how much would you have to pay that person to come into your business and run it? And the fact is, it's probably more than you're paying yourself. Am I right? Yeah. But you deserve this. Your business is not going to be super profitable if you can't pay somebody what it costs to run the business. Now, whether that's paying yourself because you're operating in that role, or it's bringing somebody in from the outside so that you can focus on something else. If you haven't got that money, you need to sit down, work out where all your money's going and what it costs to run your business. And so that can be a really good way to benchmark what you're worth to your business. You know, that value that I was talking about. How much are you valued in your company? And are you paying yourself the same as what it would cost to hire somebody and bring them in to run your business? So far we have the percentage of profit, we have the profit first formula, we have what would an equivalent person cost, but then you can get really simple and say, how much do I need to get by? Quite simply, sitting down, working out your expenses, working out your own lifestyle, and seeing how much money does it cost for you to live the life that you want to live. Not necessarily to live the life that you're living right now. Okay, let me just give you a little bit of an insight as to why I'm saying that. And it comes back to this idea of profit goals. So sure, you need to know how much it costs you to pay your mortgage, to feed and clothe yourself, to have an entertainment allowance, all those sorts of things, whatever it is. How much does it cost for you to live day to day? Well, that should be your baseline, right? Whatever that number is, you should be paying yourself at least that amount. But that's not why we're in business. We're in business to earn what we want to earn. And that means you probably want a slightly better lifestyle, or maybe a much better lifestyle than what you're living right now. So what does that look like? Can you give yourself that little bit extra pay rise so that you can work towards that profit goal? So when you hit a certain amount of turnover, you'll be paying yourself a certain amount of money, which means you can live the life that you want to live. So baseline, no matter which one of these you choose, the baseline should always be, how much do I need to get by? And it shouldn't be any less than that. But you can also look at the percentage of profit, the profit first formula, how much the equivalent person would cost, or what kind of lifestyle do you want to lead and how much is that going to cost? That is a really important exercise. If you haven't done that before, I really do urge you to sit down and just map out what your ideal lifestyle costs. And you know what? It could be pretty scary. I mean, I remember doing this with my financial advisor when Ed and I first got married 15 years ago. And I remember saying to him, how the freaking heck are we going to make that much money? But here we are. We're doing it. You don't have to worry about the how just yet, okay? You just have to know how much money it is that you actually want. So how much you need and how much you want, those are really good places to start as well. But I also would love you to look at what kind of jobs you're doing in your business and how much would the equivalent person get paid. So I sort of touched on this before, but I talked about it more at that CEO level. But now I'm talking about at a junior level. Are you still resizing images for your website? Are you still cleaning the shop when you could be paying somebody a much smaller amount of money to do that while you focus on marketing your business? Are you doing jobs that honestly are beneath you? And truly, when you look at it, you should just be paying somebody else to do them, because that would give you time back and it would allow you to either spend that time doing the things that you want or to spend that time on growing your business. And with that, are you paying yourself an amount that is commensurate with how many hours that you're working? So if you're working 70 hours a week, are you paying yourself for 70 hours? Because you really should be. And I know for some of you, this can be really confronting because you say, but I can't afford it. And if you're saying that right now, then I really do suggest that you sit down and work out how much money you need and you start setting those profit goals. Because if you don't know how much money you need, how is your business going to provide for you? How do you know which one of these you should be using if you don't even know how much money you need to run your business and to live your life? Does that make sense? And if you have employees, I really want you to sit down and take a look at how much money you're paying yourself compared to how much you're paying them. And I see this a lot. Business owners just taking what's left over, paying everybody else, and taking the bits that are left over. And that really isn't going to get you to that lifestyle that you love, is it? Just taking what's left over. I think the key thing I'm trying to get you guys to think about is value. How valuable are you to your business? And in most cases, you are your business's most valuable asset. Without you, the place isn't going to continue to run. But before we finish up this episode, I just want to point out a couple of other things that I've run into in the past that maybe you should just be aware of. And remember, again, this is not financial advice. But the first thing is just to understand what kind of entity you're running. Here in Australia, we can have a sole trader or a partnership or a company. In America, you can have an LLC. But you have to know what you're legally obliged to do. Because if you are running a company, then your constitution may say that you have to pay the employees a wage. And if you're an employee of your business, you may be required to pay yourself a wage. So just understand the obligations of the business entity type that you are. The other thing is, I said this right at the beginning, don't get sucked into this concept of reinvesting everything. I know you hear about it. You know I don't like the word hustle, but all the hustles will tell you, stick it all back in, keep reinvesting, and eventually it will all come good. I say no. I say pay yourself something right from the beginning. And have those profit goals. Know how much you need, and when you get to certain points, when you get to certain profit points, what you're going to do with that money. Oh, and add yourself to the payroll. If you are using a payroll system, I want you to go in and stick your name on that payroll system right now. Because when you run payroll, if your name's there, there should be an amount attached to it if you've worked some hours. A lot of this is mindset, right? It is understanding that you are an employee of your business and you deserve to get paid for what you do. So now, not every employee gets perks, but you, as the business owner, you get perks. So maybe these are things like paying for petrol in your car or going on a working holiday. But remember to factor those into your remuneration. So I know some people will just write all of those perks off as their wage, but you can't live off perks, guys. You can't pay the mortgage off perks. So make sure you know what that number is that you need to live by. And sure, factor those perks in to your overall salary package, I guess you would call it, but you still need cold hard cash. So there are a bunch of ways that you could work out how much you should pay yourself and when you should pay yourself. And as I said, right from the beginning, ideally for me, paying yourself comes right at the start, setting the precedent, setting yourself up for success. And if you need some help with this money stuff, with working out how much you need to grow and how to work out those profit goals, I want you to head over to my shop. Now, hopefully by the time this goes live, this product will be available. I know it's in the back end of the system. I don't know if it's been switched on yet. So fingers crossed. If you head over to theretailecademy.net/shop and you look in the mini courses, you will see the Money Mastery mini course. It's just a quick little course that you can do in about 20 minutes with a little workbook that you can work through to set those profit goals, to do the forward planning, to know how much you should be paying yourself and when. So as I said, fingers crossed, hopefully by the time this goes live, head over to theretailcollective.net. Now I know not everything will be in there, but I know that this Money Mastery mini course is definitely already ready to go. So theretailacademy.net/shop. Check out what's available. We've done the equivalent of your storeroom clear out. We have literally dozens and dozens of resources sitting in our Dropbox folders that we've created, and we're slowly adding all of those into the shop. It's like the equivalent of you dusting it out and putting it back on the shelves. I'm taking my own advice and I'm doing exactly that. So head over to theretailcollective.net/shop. If it doesn't happen to be live when you go there, just check on it in the next day or so. I promise it will be up super soon. And you can check out all the cool templates and resources and worksheets and workbooks and mini courses. All the things will be there. theretailcollective.net/shop. And I will see you back here next week to talk about 4 ways to find out exactly what your customer is looking for. Have a fantastic week. I'll see you back here again next week. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. You can find all of the show notes over at selenaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selenaknight.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.